Olá pessoal, bem-vindos a mais um vídeo de Lost Judgment. Aqui que é para o vosso amigo João Pedro. No nosso último episódio descobrimos algumas coisas sobre o Kohana. Tivemos que lutar com ele pela segunda vez. E agora vamos voltar a... Mas o Tessel deu-nos a volta, estamos a trabalhar juntos, por muitos por enquanto. E agora vamos voltar ao Yokohama 99. E agora temos de apanhar a mãe do miúdo, a kusmoto.
Just the two I've been waiting for. Excellent work, by the way.
Hey, got those burner phones ready?
Of course I do. Who do you think I am?
I still don't fully get what's going on. Yagami-san, what are we gonna do with these?
Okay, I'll break it down. First, we call Kawana on one phone. Let's say this one here. Then we use this other phone to call Reiko Kusumoto, using them that way. The phones won't be connected to each other, but their voices will be relayed so they can talk normally.
Oh, okay. And then?
If public security finds out Reiko Kusumoto's talking to Kawana, they'll trace the call without actually finding him. Then we can see exactly who they send without risk of being seen ourselves.
I think I'm getting it.
Surely you don't intend to do that here, do you? That would put a beacon on us for Kawana-san's enemies.
Yeah, we'll do it somewhere remote. We need a place where nobody would raise an eyebrow at an army of public security boys. And it's gotta have a good vantage point.
There's a building under construction not far from here. It's late, so no one should be around that may get involved unintentionally.
Where is it?
It's right near Seirio High. There's a crane by the river, too. You'll know when you see it.
Okay, you two stay put. I should be able to handle this alone.
You sure about that?
Let me at least put out a drone, Yagami-shi, even if it isn't much. I'll use it to capture the faces of Kawana's...
That'd be good.
Vai ao edifício de obras, bora. Eita, vou ter que andar muito. E vou ter que usar táxi. Vamos aqui, caras.
Irashaimase.
Starving. Pretty tasty, thanks.
ありがとうございました。
Eu não sei o que a gente vai encontrar lá. Tudo aqui inimigos.
This must be the construction site Tsukumo was talking about.
This is Tsukamo. Yagami-shi, I've confirmed your position.
Yeah. I think I can spot whoever comes close from here. I'm gonna call Kawana on the burner now.
Understood. It's Kawana.
You ready? I'm about to call Reiko Kusmoto. Once you're connected, you take it from there.
It's been 5 years since I last spoke to her.
Yeah. Can't
Va-
imagine this won't be
Vamos ver
awkward.
se conseguimos apanhá-la.
Okay, do it.
O miúdo. Reiko Kusumoto. Vice-ministra do Ministério da Sanidade. Deve ser Ministério da Saúde ou qualquer coisa, não sei.
Yes, hello?
This is Kitakata from Kurakawa Academy.
What?
You'll have to forgive me for this, but the position I'm in required me to reach out to you. I would never have done this otherwise. I should also note, there's a high probability this phone call is being tapped.
I see. Very well, then.
It's been 13 years, Kusumoto-san.
So it has.
Kitakata-sensei. I've read about your accomplishments. To think you'd become a vice minister.
You never really know how things are going to work out.
But that's not true at all, Kusumoto-san. You were always destined to move up in the world. I've got to be honest with you. A woman as virtuous and as capable as you deserves the world and then some.
But how is Mitsuru-kun?
I'm afraid he's still asleep. Nothing's changed.
I see. I wish I had the words.
What is it you wanted?
If you've been watching the news, you probably already heard. I've become a prime suspect for a crime. They think I murdered Yokosawa in her apartment.
I've heard.
Obviously, it wasn't me who killed her, of course. Do you happen to remember Sawa-kun by any chance?
The girl from your class. She was the only one of those students who ever came to visit Mitsuru. But even then, that's been at least 10 years now. I got a letter from her once. She wanted to tell me she'd become a teacher. But I never did reply. And that was the last I'd heard from her.
I see.
So back to my question. What do you want?
I hope you weren't planning to ask me for a favor. I'm afraid the answer would be no.
No, it's not that. It's just... I wanted to let you know that at some point, someone may come to you to ask a few questions about me. I thought I should give you a heads up. I'll make every effort to ensure they won't cause any trouble for you, Kusumoto-san. I'm sorry about this. I'll try to handle it from my side.
So in your opinion, then, do you believe anything related to you could cause me any trouble?
Don't worry. I'm sure you'll be just fine.
We're almost to the signal. Kill the headlights.
2 cars inbound. Looks like we were right on the money. This proves Reiko Kusumoto's phone is compromised. And
Meteram-se
there's
escutando o
one
telefone.
organization capable of tracing a call and moving on it. It's gotta be public security on the hunt for Kawana.
Public security is really coming straight to you by car?
No. There's no way they could mobilize their people that quickly. My guess? It's gotta be the prefectural police that they've got in their pocket. Or it's just RK.
I will say it's been great to hear your voice again. But this should be the last time you ever hear from me. I'll try my best.
I understand. Goodbye.
Olha, zero capa. O Yagami já tinha visto.
It's a drone. It has a phone attached to it. Shoot it! Shoot it down!
You sure?
Just take it down! Hurry it up! Hey! What the fuck are you aiming at?
I can't hit it! It's too small! Shit!
Damn, dude. How the hell are we supposed to chase down a drone? Where the fuck is this Kuwana guy?
Who knows, man? They called us in to catch this shithead, but how the hell are we supposed to do that? It's fucked up. Do we look like spec ops?
Yeah, right. But at least you gotta shoot that thing.
This is my second time, actually. I took a few shots at some kids in a park. I aimed at the ground and sent those little shits running for their lives.
We're done here. Pack it in.
That's 6 punks and only 1 gun between you by my count.
Tunga!
Who the fuck are you?
¿Quién coño
In
eres?
charge. I'm sure Kuwana would have had this whole thing solved a long time ago. Well, then again, I suppose I do have to give you credit for how fast you made it here.
That was my gun, asshole!
Who's the one giving the orders?
Eso é pela mãe, Zé.
May as well just level with me. You guys are RK's bottom rung, right?
It sounds like you must know Kuwana. Well, I guess we're not gonna be leaving here empty-handed after all.
Eu não diria amigo, mas ok.
We're taking this guy in, boys. Fuck him up.
Let's fuck this gilipollas.
Let's go.
Tu é pedir.
Who sent you here?
The order came from the head honchos in RK.
You mean Soma?
Not that high up. It was one of the bosses. There's a bunch of them.
Aconteceu.
What did they tell
Será?
you to do once you found Kuwana?
They just said to catch him. Well, they also made it very clear not to kill him. Like we'd pull the trigger. We never even heard what our cut was.
Just another useless grunt. Tell me, gentlemen, how would you feel if you found out you were just pawns in public security's game?
We're playing what game now?
I suggest you quit RK while you can. Go tell your buddies, get them out too. Otherwise, they'll keep you in the dark, use you and toss you aside. And then, you'll end up in a ditch there's no crawling out of.
Yes?
Pardon me. You would be Reiko Kusmoto, correct?
Sir, it's a little late for this. And how'd you get in here in the first place? I've expressly forbid having visitors.
Come now. I'm a coordinator with the National Police Bureau, but I'm sure you're familiar with my Division of Public Security. Bondo is my name, ma'am.
Are you now? Well, I'm afraid coordinator is rather vague.
I have a more public-facing title as well, of course. but I'm trying to be discreet here, so let's not get bogged down with minor details. It's in our best interests. I'm afraid that won't help. I've already seen to that.
What is this?
There's a question I need answered with some urgency, Kusumoto-san. It concerns the disappearance of a certain individual.
Huh.
About 5 years ago, a man vanished off the streets of Kamurocho. I'm sure you'll recognize him. A former classmate of Mitsuru-kun here, Shinya
Pois,
Kwai.
foi o gajo que ela matou.
I believe there are things you might know. I can say that with some level of certainty as a matter of fact.
Capítulo 11, bora.
A shadow looms over Yagami and Kuwana. Japan's National Intelligence Agency, Public Security, fixes its gaze on Reiko Kusmoto of the Ministry of Health. 5 years ago, Kuwana prompted her to take revenge on Shinya Kwai for pushing her son to the brink. Secrets can only lie dormant so long, and upon their waking, chaos ensues.
Capítulo 11, Infiltrado. Capítulo 3.
You've done it again, Tsukumo. Can't believe you found it.
I figured Mitsuru Kusumoto would be in one of the better hospitals around the health ministry. That narrowed it down to just a few locations. Then I pinpointed the exact one through sheer determination.
And that led you to Toto University Hospital. So me...
Yep. Reiko Kusumoto has been visiting her son every night for the past 13 years. If you gentlemen want to meet her in person, that would...
Yagami, you seriously think you can convince Reiko Kusmoto to turn her...
Well, I'm gonna try at least.
She's at the top of the food chain. If it comes out that she committed murder, the whole country's gonna lose it.
If they hadn't tried to hide it, nobody else would have needed to pay for it. Like Sawa-sensei.
Yeah.
And if she confesses to killing Kwai, public security will run out of reasons to keep defending RK. So in theory, that should free up the police to pursue Soma about Sawa-sensei.
Totally agree with you there.
But Kawana-san's against that, right? Didn't he say he wouldn't let her turn herself in?
Yeah. That's why he's not in the loop on this.
So, you're just gonna show up? You do know she's probably surrounded by public security at all.
Just means we gotta be prepared for that.
Prepared? How?
Just leave it to us. Yagami-san, I gotta go get ready. Let's meet at Toto University Hospital.
Got it.
See ya.
So what do you need from me in this, Yagami?
Got any old acquaintances in RK? Think you can find out where Soma and Akutsu are?
You forget who you're talking to? Why wouldn't I be able to cover that? I knew a few ex-Tojo guys who go in and out of RK on the regular.
Thanks. What?
I'll be ready. Like the
He's rough around the edges, but in the end he comes...
Yeah. Turns out he's got extra time on his hands.
Why don't you hire him at your...
I'll talk about that with Kaito-san once he recovers. Anyway, sorry Tsukumo, but we have to take Sugiura from you again.
O Kaito, coitado. Sinto falta do Kaito, dava piada ao jogo. Mas agora está internado, né? Temos vida no máximo, mas vamos aproveitar e comprar aqui algumas coisas que nos faltam. Agora vamos aqui a esta lojita. Então é esta aqui. E vamos comprar aqui algumas comiditas, alguns que nos podem vir a fazer falta. Oh raio, entrei num caso de secundário e não queria. Eu depois faço isto em off. Ah, raio. Não, já me viram. Não tem hipótese. Oh, carreguei no guarda deste emprego.
Really, guys? Bom, está-se armado a já tudo. Queres ver? Oh, eu já pus. E já estás cantando a cá. Querias? Eu só queria vir a esta loja Ah, que são isso?
Caralho. Não para de perceber. Ser mais rápido vai assim.
What a waste.
Descobri aqui uma forma de chegar aqui. Por isto está cheio deles, mano.
Really, guys?
Tenho tempo para chegar numa porcaria de uma loja. Ah, que feliz. É aquela das bijutarias, né?
いらっしゃいませ。あ
E
りがとうございました。
aquela das bijutarias. Ah, não vou lutar. Pois. Obrigado. Pô.
And stay down.
Com isto tudo, já perdi tempo demais. Que é aquele telefone e as tretas.
What are you? Don't worry. I'll give it back to you after this. I'm sure it's bugged, and we wouldn't want anyone listening in now, would we?
We'll take a few laps around the block and then drop you back off at the hospital. Sorry, but we just need a bit of your time.
Very well. Who are you people?
We're just local detectives, but Kitakata-sensei is an acquaintance of ours. We know about Mitsuru-kun, and we know that 5 years ago, a man named Shinya Kwai mysteriously disappeared and died.
I have no idea what you're saying.
But you do. I know how this must come across right now, so I assure you, we aren't the ones posing a threat.
Fine. What is it you want, then?
All I want is the truth. In your own words.
Pois é a verdade.
About Shinya Kwai, and how you carried out his murder.
You're mistaken. I didn't do it.
Ai não? O Koana diz que sim.
The other day you received a call from Kitakata-sensei, didn't you? He goes by the name Koana now, and works as a handyman in Ijincho. He made that call because we needed to confirm something.
Confirm what?
Whether or not you were being watched by public security.
Public security, you say?
As it turns out, you are. Your cell phone is bugged. It can even use GPS to trace who's on the other end of the line. That kind of trace is only possible with cooperation from the cellular providers. Unless you're public security, you could pull something like that off in secret. They want to hit you where you're vulnerable. And that's what you are now after Koana. Do you understand, Kusumoto-san? You must really be something special. You were never in this job for yourself. It fell into your lap as your predecessors fell like dominoes. That's why you don't owe anyone anything. You're free of constraints. And Mitsuru-kun's tragedy even gained you public sympathy. Combine all that with a capable bureaucrat like you, there's no telling what you could accomplish. You're cleaning up house, tackling the revolving door problems. Things you know are the right moves, but with no regard for the consequences. I understand even the cabinet gauges your opinion, since you have so much public support. But I think that's also made you some enemies. Most likely whoever's holding public security's leash.
I have more than a few enemies. I'm well aware of that. And I have no doubt public security would comply with them. To be quite frank, public security only exists to maintain the status quo. The establishment is made up of various powers which control politics and finance. But naturally, each branch has its own agendas, goals, ideas of justice, which leads to all sorts of issues and hindrances, which you call constraints. The more individuals who make up society, the more unavoidable that is.
Are you implying it's public security's job to loosen those constraints?
There's more to it than that. The world we live in requires all kinds of value systems to coexist, even in chaos. But if you loosen the constraints too far, the fall of the state is inevitable. In that regard, public security's role is to stabilize and maintain the state, even while bound by constraints. In other words, the constraints of these powers are precisely what are protected by public security. So the fact that I am not caught up in all that does, indeed, make me something of a pesky foreign object.
A pesky foreign object. I see. So to these establishment people, you're something to be excised.
Hmm? I guess there's bullying among adults in high places, too.
Yeah. Now we know why they were looking for any kind of weakness in you. And that's when they turned the spotlight on Shinya Kawai's disappearance. An event that was triggered by
Yes.
An active duty policeman exacted revenge on the bully who drove his son to suicide. Your enemies must have heard that and thought to themselves, what would Reiko Kusumoto have done to her son's bully? I'm guessing that's what prompted public security as the details of Ahara's case came to light, all to find out that he was kidnapped 5 years ago, probably killed.
I I never did anything out of revenge.
Even after finding out but if they found out you were involved, that'd be a win for them. They'd finally know Reiko Kusumoto's weakness.
How long are you going to keep talking?
As public security figured out, the bullying cases involving Toshiro Ihara and your son share a common link. That link being Sawa-sensei. She was Mitsuru-kun's classmate and Toshiro Ihara's teacher. Not only that, she was also linked to Ihara's murder victim, Mikoshiba. She was his master teacher. So, not long after the murder, RK came to Ijincho and broke into her home. That must have been when they got Kawana's name out of her. I think Sawa-sensei suspected that Kawana was involved, and Soma steps in, with his professional interrogation skills, to beat and scare her into spilling everything. Kusumoto-san, you knew she was killed, right? Kawana should have told you over the phone.
Wait, are you not one of his colleagues? He said he wouldn't cause—
Kawana and I are competitors on a temporary ceasefire. We're not colleagues. I have to ask you about Shinya Kwai. You killed him 5 years ago. With your own hands, didn't you? I understand.
If you've spoken to Kitakata-sensei, then you must know about the video of how Mitsuru was treated.
I do.
Aside from Kwai, the other students pretended like nothing happened. They took no responsibility. They put on their sad faces, and they came to visit Mitsuru at the hospital. But looking back on it now, I don't think they really wanted Mitsuru to wake up. In fact, that's what they were checking on. And what did I do? I bowed my head and thanked them. It was only later that Kitakata-sensei showed me the video. That's when I knew that those kids go—
And your solution was to pull them into the quagmire? Make them accomplices in murdering Kwai?
You already know so much. What more do you need to ask?
Has anybody from public security contacted you? Have you been approached by any strangers?
I have my suspicions.
What are their names? I imagine what they wanted was to exploit your weakness to control you. Because if all they wanted was to eliminate you, some kind of accident would be easily arranged.
Yes. I suppose you're right.
Do you have any idea what these people are after? And do you mind sharing?
What they want is control of the pension fund, which is under the Health Ministry's jurisdiction.
Pension fund?
An independent agency within the ministry manages the National Pension Fund. It's taxpayer funded, and it's worth 160 trillion yen.
What?
And certain groups want to take bigger risks with that money in order to generate more profit. In other words, they want the health ministry to use taxpayer money to gamble. They believe that's the only way to rebuild Japan's faltering economy and secure the future of this country.
I mean, would it work?
Of course. If the gamble actually pays off.
Vocês políticos, pá.
Then we wouldn't be able to guarantee anything for the citizens. That's why the health ministry manages those funds conservatively, even if it means the returns are lower.
Okay. I'm starting to understand now.
You do? Don't leave me in the dust, Yagami-san.
To be able to gamble all this taxpayer money to save the economy, they need a change of management. And here's Kusumoto-san, head of the office, and she's beyond the control of even the ministers. Her position has the power to take action, to override the way the pension fund. But not only does Kusumoto-san have the power, she has the support of the people. If a new vice minister were to try it, they'd be stopped cold by the constraints.
So...
Exactly. And if the 160 trillion yen gamble were to fail, They can blame the whole thing on Kusumoto-san anyway.
Okay. Oh, wow. 160 trillion.
Yeah, literalmente.
I'm guessing they've already contacted you about it?
That's an assumption.
How's your son doing now?
He could wake up any minute now. Of course, that's been true for the last 13 years.
I see.
Pois,
We transferred him to
Quando
Tokyo
está em coma.
University Hospital. Just that it turned.
I get it now. Let me reiterate. We are not your enemy.
Then please, let me go.
Anything you want me to tell Kawana?
I do. He needs to run. Far away. Public security has their sights on him. His capture in one's public
You mean he'd be tortured?
Yes. No,
They would
most likely.
I
eu
get
quero passar pessoal, mas é para não estar a passar
Because in
tanto
my
tempo.
opinion, you need to turn yourself in, Kusumoto-san.
You want me to admit to manslaughter? You think I killed a real man? I say he was less than one.
Tu, Koana, o Ehara, para mim é tudo a mesma, é tudo a mesma laia.
And you saw it. You saw what that brute did to my son. I hated Kitakata-sensei. He was an incompetent teacher. An idiot who turned a
Bem,
blind eye
nisso
to
alguns
Mitsuo being
professores,
tortured.
eu sei porque também passei por isso.
Changed when he suddenly
Enfim.
showed up 8 years later. And then he showed me that video. He said, every bully in that video, they deserved to be punished. That it was the only way to get closure.
You took him up on it, but you of all people should have known better.
True. You're right about that. I struggled with it quite a bit. It's an unconscionable act, no matter how deep your animosity runs. But Kitakata-sensei's words hung on. I couldn't get them out of my head. I saw for myself. I went to Kamurocho, where I'd heard Kwai was working, at a girls' bar. So you know, after Mitsuru jumped that day, Kwai came to me in tears to apologize. I hadn't seen him in all that time. If he'd frozen in place when he saw me, if he'd been the slightest bit apologetic, I might have been able to stay my hand.
I take it he didn't do any of that.
Right. He didn't even recognize my face. And that's hardly the worst part of it, actually. When he saw me, he took me for some bawdy cougar on the prowl for young men. If you've got the cash, I'll show you a good time, he said. All those tears he'd shed years earlier were a farce. But I knew that. Deep down, I'd already known that. That was it. That was the moment I lost all doubt about killing him. And as for those other kids who bullied Mitsuru, they should thank me they didn't share his fate.
Outra assassina.
But that's why I don't feel like I have any sins to atone for. Every night I pray he will wake up. What more can you ask me to endure?
Kawana said something similar. But you think you can repeat all that? This time say it to her.
Isn't that Sawa-san?
You and Kawana can congratulate yourselves. You got vengeance on a monster. But what you're choosing not to see is that your actions had consequences for her. It's vicious. I've seen this before. Justice for one at the cost of another. Someone innocent always pays the price. I won't just sit here and watch as history tries to repeat itself. This phone isn't being traced by anyone. So, if you have a change of heart, just give me a call before you turn yourself in.
Ok. Mas será que podemos a confiar nela?
We're back.
Right here, okay, Yagami-san?
Yeah. I gotta go talk to Kawana. Need to tell him I met with Reiko Kusumoto.
He's gonna be pissed, you know? He's gonna try to rip you a new one.
That's true. So you might want to sit this one out.
You sure? 'Cause I'll totally take you up on that.
Vou falar com o Koana.
Really, guys?
Eu estou no sítio certo, mas... Afinal, caralho. Aqui.
Well, look who we have here. Haven't seen your mug in a while.
It's only been 2 or 3 days. Where's Kawana?
How should I put this? Would you freak out if he was right behind you?
You know, this kind of shit is why you get on my nerves.
Couldn't we have done this by phone?
I just came from seeing Reiko Kusumoto. I told her to turn herself in for murdering Kwai 5 years ago.
You what?
What did she have to say about that?
That she had no sins to atone for.
Of course not. Look, what do you think you're doing? Her part in this is...
This isn't yours to finish. You would just let Sawa-sensei stay collateral damage.
Yeah.
How do you think her folks feel? They probably think you killed their daughter. And they don't know why. Or if justice will... Do they have to... With Sawa's...
Listen, she's not sure.
But era
Besides,
percepção.
there's no case without a corpse. Point being, she'll never be charged.
Tenho o tempo contado como estou na PS5.
Even if she did turn herself in, the police...
Don't you... Like...
And
You're
the
just...
truth,
What?
Sawa-kun herself...
What did...
And a few minutes later, a
Oh.
student named Miko Shiba came up looking for him. I'll never forget the fear I saw in Toshiro-kun's face. He told me
Ah,
about
ok, já
everything.
percebi. Como eu estava a passar
The beatings, how nobody was on his side.
da Sawa.
And yet they...
Sawa-kun's testimony in court was false, and she was racked with guilt over it.
And you're
Yes,
all...
in himself. If it means I can prevent another Mitsuru Kusumoto, yes, I will keep killing. These bastards who prey on the defenseless must be punished.
I understand what you're saying. But you're taking it too far. Just stop, Kawana.
If you really
Já
want to
chega,
stop
meu.
me,
Esta
you can
tua
have
vingança
to
já está a levar muita gente
justice.
para o abismo.
I thought you... Well,
Bem, vamos até ao Yokohama 99. Ora bem, uma lojita. Talvez aqui. Eu quero ir comprar coisas que me fazem falta. Não estou cercado. Boas. Não me apetece estar a lutar agora. Isso parece que eu evitar. Eu ter passado o diálogo todo, pessoal.
いらっしゃいませ。ありがとうございました。
E vamos ficar por aqui, pessoal. No próximo episódio continuamos. Um abraço a todos, até o próximo vídeo. Fui.